I love that aspect of college too. I remember being in the dorm and just like always being around people. I had like a camera at that point, so I would like record stuff, and then like we would watch it together. Like we would go to parties together. So that was always fun. So it's interesting that we had a similar journey on in
Hmm.
that kind of world. Um, Obviously, the world now is a little different. Can't be around a ton of people.
Right.
So when
Right.
this whole thing started in March, so where it's what,
Hmm.
March, April, May, June, July, oh, wow, we're
We're
out
August.
almost
Hmm.
at 6 months ish.
Hmm.
Like, what were your initial thoughts about it, knowing that you were in the event space? Were you seeing stuff happen? Were people like freaking out because you're also part of an international organization who does a bunch of events? Like, were you seeing stuff of this, or is this all kind of blindsided, Joe?
No, I mean, when things started to happen in March, let's just say from the photo booth perspective, like that part of the events, I had clients who said, "Hey, I don't think I'm going to be able to have my event." And so, and at that time, there wasn't the big focus of these virtual photo booth experiences where if, the event still happened, maybe we could still provide a service. It was just that things weren't happening. As far as things that I do, the STEM related events, for Nova Systemic, that again, everything was put on hold. And with that, Zach and Tim, one of the things that I am a yes person as much as I can be. And when I was tasked with, hey, do we cancel this event since it can't be in person? And I said, no, we'll just make it virtual. But then you had to learn all of these tools and these resources. And from the International Live Events Association side, ILEA, really literally that Thursday, I think it was after things kind of shut down, like on March 13th. So that following Thursday, I myself and another person related to ILEA put together this presentation on how to make your events virtual. And just as a starting point, because I think some people may have not known how to respond, or they didn't know how to respond, or they didn't know what their options were. And I felt like, hey, I want to keep things going and I know people are going to need help. So I think having that mindset to think a little bit down the road of what are the tools and resources that people are going to need and how can we help them then actually implement their event if it can be converted into a virtual type of space. That was just a big thing. And I think heads were spinning and people are feeling overwhelmed. And so I think as many of us that could offer these different types of webinars and free opportunities and experiences, like that's what we did with ILEA. We opened up all of our webinars. Like I think 90% of them were open up to anybody. You didn't have to be a member because we were all going through this together. So like for my mindset, yes, I was in that headspace to problem solve and try to be as proactive more than reactive in all of the spaces that I interact with.